Good day, my gorgeous gremlins! My name's Thew, welcoming you to an all-new payload of spaceships, trains, and empty brains, all aboard for the Astrotrain Afterparty. Yes, indeed, it's somehow been another 5 years since we last trundled down the tracks of the old surly space bus, and I reckon there's been enough of an interim triple changer drip feed to allow us a follow-up. Plus, I just really like talking about Astrotrain. Okay, now then, the game plan today is not going to be some epic final quest to find the perfect Astrotrain toy. Because I've learned through bitter experience and the recent bout of Ironhide hopscotch that craving perfection is kind of a mug's game. This is simply a review of some toys that are in my house, with no lofty expectations, and honestly not much of a chronology, because the last Astrotrain review was a tour through time. A dance through the decades, from 1985 right up to the late 2010s, with the then latest release of Titan's Return, while today's lot all sort of dropped in an ill-defined clump during the last bit of time. So we'll call this more of a casual sightseeing catch-up through the latest exploits of Big Fidel Castrotrain, okay? Okay, choo-choo, motherfucker! Right then, what say we wet our interplanetary whistles with an unofficial appetizer in the flavoursome form of Mechanic Studio Iron Sky? First off, I'm not going to pretend I know who Mechanic Studio is. Didn't I hear it's the same team as Mech FansToys? Lemon Tree? One of those? I don't know. Isn't the whole third-party scene just the same 9 dudes using different pseudonyms? Like the friggin' Wu-Tang Clan? I don't know. I don't pretend to know. But they do seem to be having a decent go at the whole full-featured, fun-size war in pocket thing, and I usually enjoy that, because bite-sized bots like this fulfill a nice suite of user needs. They're usually fun, they look great, they give you the full Transformery show, but they're little, so they're automatically cute, and they only take up 1/200th of your shelf. Brilliant. So I'm not sure if we're calling this Legend Scale or like Sub-Deluxe, Legion Plus, but what I love about it is that it's almost exactly the same size as the G1 toy. Is that what they were going for? It's gotta be. It's like a direct G1 alternative in cartoon model style, with slightly more movement options than the original's pathetic noodle brick arms. This is not a toy that can pull off the pose on its own instruction leaflet, but Iron Sky got you covered. Oh god, I'm doing important work here. There's definitely something going on with little Sky and Hide here. There's an overarching sense of calm to it. It eases me. I'm eased. Like, the look of it is so appealing. Bringing the sunbow colors and simple visuals with like random lines and basic shapes, providing a subtle yet substantive detailscape, which gels wonderfully with the sleepy colors and cozy soft plastic. It's in the motion as well. Like, you can move into and easily hold pretty much any pose, but always with this gorgeously smooth and necessarily slow action that gives him a real velvety, luxurious vibe. You cannot be in a hurry with this guy. You have to take your time. Not out of like trepidation or fear of snappage or anything, but just because that's how he works. That's his tempo. Lean into it, baby. It just has this irresistibly comforting energy, man. Because Astrotrain is so frequently played as a big grumpy gloom bag, but this mechanic man's face is at worst neutrally nonchalant, with only the slightest sulk on his vibrant visage and that yellow helmet stripe shining like a friendly margarine mascot. Very into the flexy angel wings and their reassuring rounded edges, and these negative space wheel flap cutouts are adorable down there, like friggin' pastry stencils. Plus he's packing what is possibly my favourite modern Astrotrain blaster. Cause look man, big AstroZeneca's original gun is such an iconic displacer rifle, all purple and spaceshipy and crazy long, and this just nails it. Like, they've not done that annoying modern toy thing of trying to reimagine it or make it extreme or roll in some dork-ass episode Easter eggs. It's just the same, but in his size. Although there are 2 of them for some reason. Oh no! Abundance! So yes, owing to that built-in creamy smooth action, transforming Iron Sky is practically tactile ASMR. The pieces cruise into place at their own pace. The process is soothing and sensible. I want to do it again right now. And the shuttle is such a satisfying handful. Same. It's so endearingly chunky and flat and pouncesome. I just endlessly appreciate the spongy stodge of it. Cause look, that big soft nose is boopably bulbous. Love the deep set olive oil window there. hair, translucent and lively, like good lager, popping like a ski mask on a porpoise. Love that front-end cargo canopy. It's given that rough and ready transportation captain energy, but like more accomplished and, crucially, portable. Deeply dig the back bits and all, with the all-business boosters peering out from its pleasant purple diaper. Wings are holding it down like a soft sine wave, but it does get a bit messy in the middle. Like, what is the use of that baby tail fin? I mean, I'm not mad about it. It looks funny, but come on, man. Do you know how big the tail fin was on the real shuttle? I mean, me neither, but it looks daft, is my point. And it looks even dafter, seemingly sitting between 4 tits. Goals. But we can at least do something about the hideous hindquarter gaps, because little Iron Sky in here is packing a rare Astrotrain vehicle attack mode. Is that why they gave it 2 guns, do we think? Cover up the crevasses a little bit and also dial in some Decepticon air attack symmetry? It is very dirge. Train mode transformation is all flaps, as it is wont to be. As your mum is wont to be. You do have to go back a bit further than you'd expect. You gotta unclip more little dealies than seem strictly necessary, but it is necessary, and it just feels more secure in the end, so it's fine. But man, it really blows the whistle on how simplistic the Astrotrain form truly is at its base elements. It's literally a Cadbury's Whisper, ain't it? Train mode, shuttle mode, robot mode. It's fine, it's kind of an open secret, right? But what's not a secret is how adorable this engine is. Too cute, man, I can't bear it. This is the zenith of the job that Iron Sky does. It's perfectly detailed and all very G1 evocative and all that, but it's cute. It has this rare and indefinable warmth to it. The proportions and aesthetic are inviting and homely. The lights on in the cabin, somebody's home. And there's a cheerful clarity to the face panel. Because much as we love the original toy, I've never been super clear on what's supposed to be going on at the front there. Like, it gives me temporary Decepticon face blindness. So I appreciate how crisp this one looks. It's like finally learning the words to a song you've always liked. Oh, is that what it is? Oh, right. I did wonder why you'd take a wedding car to a liquor store. And like, look how pleasing and palatable the soft violet plastic is. I don't think I've ever seen a toy that looked this edible. I just want to chomp it like a big quality streak. I'll take it off us before I eat it. Got any more whispers? Quick shout out to the sweet circular chimney and associated nubs along the top, which not only lend it a slight air of real-world cred in spite of its overwhelmingly cartoony vibe, but they also create a perfect little support structure for the shuttle mode. Like, it's easy to miss and there's no real need, but it balances perfectly on these without really announcing it. Not quite as convinced about this little square gap filler thing here, which slots in to occupy this fairly inoffensive no man's void up the back, or you can slide a gun handle into this convenient circular groove for a slightly comical attack mode of just a steam engine with a laser gun on it. Ooh, look out! Get ya! Come on. Also, just notice this. It's got no wheels. Like, not even shit outlier ones. Just nothing. Not a single wheel. And I don't know how to make that funny. But what's new? Gotta give you a quick peek at this box while we're here. So at first glance, it's your standard 3P package with some fairly solid box art and a conveniently copyright-neutral handcuff dodger name, but the blurb weirdly prioritizes the real-world vehicles with some factual flavor text ripped fresh from the web. And I guess it's kind of a fresh angle, and it's pretty funny, but like, is that what we're doing, really? Teaching the kids about brave lines of transport? Come on. We all know we're ripping off an 80s cartoon, and it's fine. We're not the cops. We're all friends here, we're all 40, and we're in this with you. So, God, strong start. Mechanic Studio Iron Sky might not be the best Astrotrain toy, but it's a great little figure, and it's certainly slid in as a solid fave in this house. There's something magnetic about it. There's an affection that's so evident in the design. There's a craving it plugs for a toy of this lad in vintage dimensions and prototype colors. And just the poump of it, the blumph, the absolute clorb. There's joy here. And there's joy here. Gotta be my favourite action figure named after a movie about the Nazis. Right then, on to official business. Now, I'm sure you'll agree it's been a delight to see big Isaac Astromov picking up some TV work semi-recently, laying down an incredible supporting role in Cyberverse as an enormous intergalactic transport type towering over every other shrimp around. It was such a joy to see him actually massive, actually in the thing, and not just teased on the cover, and like pairing him with Dead End as the irascible pilot and unruly ship who actively despise each other. Masterstroke. So much potential there. Those guys need a Paramount Plus spin-off. Tragically though, Cyberverse Astrotrain went regrettably toyless. So our next plastic space conductor comes from the Netflix original CAD model showcase that was the War for Cybertron trilogy, where he sauntered on screen for like 2/3 of a second and he was absolutely fucking enormous, like kaiju scale, and then in the next one he was just normal size, like not even as tall as Jetfire. What the hell was that? Anyway, Transformers Siege Astrotrain here definitely retains the vibe of the show. Kinda heavy, kinda drab, definitely all gun and no fun, but it's still Transformers and I still sort of like it. Kinda by default. Because this brutish brother man brings a bruising breath of brash, battle-scarred beleaguerment to proceedings. With his stony, sullen face, scratty, scratched-up shins, and murky-ass colours. Dressed to depress in dreary, dull grey and bad dream aubergine. All his gear's just black. The vibe is bleak. Because the war, right? The war. Ugh. Action figures are so serious. But look, he's here, and he's at least attempting his A-game. So yes, this monstrous manlet showed up just a toy line and a half after his previous Voyager in Titan's Return, and I recall it feeling a bit soon. The poor Titan's toy had seriously just settled into the shelf. It felt ignobly premature to bring in another one already. But the news of Leader-class Astrotrain nevertheless rang in my ears like the chimes of the Seraphim. Because if you recall, this was still at a time when Leader toys were freaking massive, so seeing him rock up in these dumpy dimensions was a touch deflating. But the thing is, it's pretty good. I think in a lot of ways, Siege was such a level up moment from the Prime Wars trilogy. A lot of these toys have aged horribly, and with remarkable swiftness, like the end of The Last Crusade. And while height-wise he is a touch shorter than the Titans toy, it is loads meatier. Truly a compact galaxy core of decidedly dark matter that reads like a heavy-duty war titan who compacted his armor down until it wouldn't fold anymore. Just layers of densitude. He's a cudgel that walks like a man, serving serious clack and clomp and the heftiest hand feel in the whole heath. And despite my correct misgivings about the desperately dull colours, it's still a pretty powerful look. Astro Siege is the ultimate all-impact grouch head. The face is searingly expressive and regretlessly gloomy, dragging even the wildly wide margarine mohawk down into its miasma of misery. Body's a busty brick house, like a concrete wall of death inlaid with extravagant CG channels and the tasty tummy tats. I too store my ribs in my stomach. Arms are very sort of standard solid square fare, with impressive duo elbow joints and mildly weak wrists. And the shoulder's peaked pointy design actually meshes surprisingly well with the subtle wing flaps peeking cheekily over the back. Legs are looking slabsolutely slabulous down there, layered up with outer face kibble coats and bulked out with a spread of visible vehicle components in the shin guts. I mean, it's fine. We know he's a Transformer, and so does he. He's wearing it like Flair. Anyway, it's actually a pretty decent poser, considering he's basically a pile of curbs. But I don't think I love the arsenal he's packing. I'm not sure if it brings out the best in him. None of this really says Astrotrain. It just comes off like a bunch of unrelated Siege stuff, like an accessory expansion pack. It doesn't suit him, and it doesn't look any good. I mean, I love that they gave him a dedicated storage tender that he can wear like a rucksack cum cape, plugged into his triple boosters with bonus surprise concrete slippers. That's all cool or whatever, but it comes off weirdly flimsy and hollow and too dark. Look, I get that Siege was all about having too many weapons and moping, but none of this comes close to the simple charm of one long purple rifle. Oh no, abundance. But genuinely this time. Transformation's a solid sequence. I think fun's a strong word, but it feels substantial, doesn't get annoying, the leg panels are dead good, and I was basically engaged while it was happening. And the train mode, again, feels like a bit of a reach to even call it that, but it sure is an adequate ground-based thingy that doesn't look like a robot anymore. It doesn't really look like anything. I feel like there's a train in there somewhere. I can see Astrotrain peeking out the front, but he seems to have brought the rest of the tunnel with him. It's just got no form, man. The silhouette silhouette is non-existent. It's just a blob, a log, a globog. There you go. It's just lost in this particularly pungent purple, so oppressively dark it practically masks any defining features. And it's kind of a waste because the detailing is by far its strongest suit, with the pipes and the cabin and the wheelie chug-chugs. But you shouldn't have to search this hard. You gotta get it at just the right angle and the perfect light. There's just so little imagination or pizzazz here. It feels less like a toy of Astrotrain and more like a toy that reminds me of Astrotrain. Like, it's not going for wild reinvention and certainly not realism. This is pure nostalgia bait with decent retail budget and slightly bungled execution. I guess I like that it has a tender. It does give the loco that extra smack of completeness. It turns an engine into a train, but it's totally just a box on wheels, which is what a tender is, so top marks. So, the expedition to shuttle mode only reaffirms this thing as a new toy of the Astrotrain toy. Like, does that make sense? It's mechanically similar. It pulls a lot of the same moves, like the internal front-end foot flip, the side mount skirt reverse, and the basic unwrap wing reveal. Tailfin's mighty tricky to clip on and all. I tend to just let it chill out on top. And I kinda love this shuttle. It's like 80% jank, super uneven. The whole back end looks sort of shriveled and desiccated, but it kinda has this cool threadbare industrial vibe, like a stripped back prototype Terminator or something. It almost flaunts the mess that it is, and I'm along for that ride. Wings are banging, boosters are gleaming, token heat rectangle from the show there. Siege ports are in play for that Combaticon assault mode look. It's definitely an oddly front-loaded fool and all. But check out this massive chumbly cockpit peering out with its shiny silver windows there. Absolutely reveling among the gumph and garbage and wildly visible hinges. It's clunky and it's absurd, and it knows it is, and it's having a great time. Hard same. Anyway, the tender finally makes itself useful by transforming into a sort of launch pad situation. I say transforms, it's more like it collapses open like a novelty gift box and presents this three-pronged plug-in coupler that slots handily into the aft and then rotates. Why? Actually, don't answer that. I don't want to know. Is it because it's fun? Are we finally permitted to have some fun? And that's really the vibe here, because Siege Astrotrain is an okay toy, but it's overwhelmed by the navel-gazing obligations of the self-serious Siege subline identity. It's almost like a facsimile of Astrotrain. He's in there somewhere, but it's so bogged down in morose military malaise that it forgets to prioritize the character it is. Because the war, guys. Everyone's filthy and sad because of the war. The war! F off, Siege. We get it. I don't know, gang. As the latest, hottest mainline Astrotrain line, I'd say it holds up sufficiently well. It's a solid job. The boxes have been ticked. It's trying to do a lot of stuff and not really nailing any of it. Like, in trying to kind of evoke the G1 toy, it gave us a hell of a side-by-side and blasted a spotlight on the parts it fumbled, poisoned by the unsavory sludge of Siege. And as an ostensible replacement for the 2017 toy, I don't know. They are very different lads. Because yes, the Titans one does look dated and wibbly now, but we gotta respect that it at least tried something. What was that train mode? It was weird as hell, it was new, and we appreciate that. And it at least gave me my preferred colour scheme, because I've always been a fan of its OG toy fit with its perky purples and clean whites. But apparently the world's decided against the thing I want, again, Tories out, because after a protracted and very public struggle to commit to a colour scheme, he seems to have settled into a kind of umbral uniformity, with a catch-all costume of purple and grey all dang day. Snore! Can I get a dash of visual spice here? Come on, man, I can't be the prettiest thing on screen for this whole video. I can't take that kind of pressure. Bring me sunshine. Bring me Armada. Oh yes, honey. Clear the runway for the plus-size powerbomb that is Transformers Armada, Collectors Club, Fun Pub, Timelines, Shattered Glass, I think. Space Warp. Astrotrain. This thing! I don't know what we're calling it. First up, let's just palm this off, yeah? The canon of this toy is the least interesting thing about it, and I simply will not engage. It's mired in this whole tedious tangle of exclusivity and brandings and retcons and crossovers, and I cannot muster the energy to give a single watery shit. Cause I'd rather cower, in a nice way, before the magnificence of this mighty mama. Back tonight for a second appearance on the channel, because yes, we have covered this Gormless Galoot before, but it was 90 seconds a decade ago on somebody else's channel. I think there's room for a little more of this thing, and Siths sure do take up that space. So as a repaint of the legendary Armada Jetfire, this corpulent customer actually does an amazing job of embodying the Astrotrain playbook, and it makes a totally convincing Unicron trilogy incarnation of the big bus boy, with just a fresh coat of luxuriant purple paint and a new stupid head that kinda sucks. Look at this uniquely stupefied slack-jawed dingus face, sporting distressingly spooky red eyes and a general semi-unpleasant puffiness. But it's fun. It's definitely him. And it's pretty funny how lost it looks among all this generous girth. Love the gorgeous GoBot-y ceiling forward bod with the flamboyant foldy flaps and the cheeky acid smiley springing from the grey. Arms are sumptuously stumpy and comically undersized, especially with the enormous stompy see-through heeled biker boots down here, and these wings reaching for the heavens to a degree of your choosing. This really is such an extremely Armada toy, particularly for pose power and playtime chops, having as it does boatloads of one and almost none of the other. Like the shoulders and the knees are pretty respectable, but he's got almost no hips and literally no waist. But we don't expect Iron Man poses from Armada, do we? We expect a lot of chonk, a bit of jank, a bunch of gimmicks, and a ton of charm. And Astro Bro is out here delivering. I mean, it may be a touch thin on advertisable play features, like he's got a shield, I guess. His massive blaster's loaded up on light and sound action. Pachoo, with bonus minicon variation. But there's no like flippy over cannons or bonus physical pop-out surprises or whatever, which kinda sucks, but you gotta consider that the Jetfire toy itself is a gimmick. It is ultimately just Optimus Prime's trousers with a face drawn on in Sharpie. It does enough. And nothing says extravagant Armada box set like way too many minicons! Yes, mate, introducing Astro Hook, Astro Line, and Astro Sinker. The illest intergalactic planetary sabotage crew rocking up in the new style to set straight this Watergate, looking effortlessly cool and coordinated in their gang-molded gang colours. Now first off, I love that these are an homage to one of the few forgotten single-issue Shadow Squads that I actually remember vividly. It's all about Sinker, baby. I want me a Transformers Legacy Evolution Deluxe Class Sinker. B-Mac, I know you're watching. So yes, we've got Astro Hook, who is not a Constructicon, but is a weirdly good fold-in-halfy claw crane cretin. Astro Line? Because airline, right? A paunchy purple plane punk with a vaguely lug-nutty vibe and stupid-ass friction fire rockets clogging up his killer claw hands. And Astro Sinker, because he's a submarine. Do you get it? Do you get it? Do you get the very clever joke? Very rare to see a sub, actually. I'm not sure how many of those there are in the whole franchise. And I think proportionally speaking, those might actually be the biggest shoulders in all of Transformers. Suck on that, Ultra Magnus. Suck on that. Who's got big shoulders? Suck on that, Energon Jetfire. Suck on that, Cybertron Jetfire. And finally, we have Starcatcher, which I'm pretty sure was a song by Unleash the Archers. I just adore this guy's energy, man. He's such a Star Wars droid. He's barely a robot with his four-wheeled walking frame instead of legs and no hands on his hands. Like, he's so awkward and ungainly. And I always get the impression that he's actually Astrotrain's best mate, because the big lad can't physically transform fully without him, and the rest of them are just some moochers they picked up along the way, like those birds that eat the schmutz out of crocodiles' teeth. This horrible lot just have such wonderful found family energy. They're thick as thieves and they're trouble for everyone. They're a problem and they love it. And so do I. classic Armada style, the transformation is characteristically clickety-clackety and can easily descend into wanton loose-limbed panel-demonium. The whole guy does essentially split in half below the neck. There's wings flying about and flaps a go-go. Name of my strip club. So stay in the zone and keep it wrangled, baby. You got this. And this spectacular shuttle mode is one of the most deliriously fun transformery forms out there. It's just giddily entertaining. Like it's taunting you to play with it. Just the sheer magnitude of it seizes my attention. I'm rapt by its rabble-rousing rotunditude, and the deco legitimately gets my eyes dilating. The esteem of it, baby. The decadence. The sick-ass cyber wings singing with that 8-bit crackle. The yellow lining elevates the energy like cosmic lightning. And gang, all rise for the biggest and most egregiously visible Decepticon badge I've seen in my life. Dropkick wishes he had the audacity. Timeline's Astrotrain is president-elect of the needlessly massive badge crew, and long may he reign. Now, as an Armada toy, this enormous astronument insists on being relentlessly entertaining in every way that could possibly mean. So on top of looking great and being awesome fun to swish around like an infant, it also gives you plenty to do. Like you can swing open the lids for a whole-ass cargo bay with bonus underflap star map. The boosters are boasting some alternate launchy shooty blast-off beeps. I'm never quite sure what to do with these wingtip Versa flaps. Like, do they have a proper home in each mode? I've no idea. And we can get the Minicon gang involved to enhance the look, drop some bombs, and provide regulation landing gear. It really feels like a team effort, you know? But while this little gaggle absolutely bring an abundance of Astro, I am noticing a distinct absence of train. Look man, it's Armada Jetfire in a novelty sweater. It was never meant to bear the burden of extraneous rail travel. Besides, we know it can pull off a cheeky third mode anyway, as a pair of velvety goth pants for Optimus, which I can't show you, cause I ain't got one. But pants or no pants, Glassline's Time Club Astro Warp here is a pure stunner. Just an enormous injection of brute force fabulous. And it kinda serves as a wisp of wish fulfillment for the Cyberverse what-if big hypothetical. Big and belligerent, brilliantly bouncy, devastatingly decorated, and that's all I could ever want. Honestly, it's become a real center of warmth in my collection, and I mean, it might be my favorite toy ever. It's up there. Truly the biggest legend of all time. The absolute bloat. Okay, I need a break from saying the word Astro. Can I get a subscribe? Can I get a thumb up? Can I get a check out my Patreon? Can I get a hell yeah? Appreciate you watching, baby. Means a lot. Right then, while we're on with the shuttles and the little guys, how about a shuttle that is some little guys? Yes, mate, time for a swift diversion into Earthrise airspace with Fuzer and Blastmaster. Now, this tiddly twosome were a kind of late wave last gasp of the Micromaster revival before it rightly buggered off. And they're a pretty perfect case study of what didn't work. So yes, this pair are a generations revival of the 1990 Micromaster combiner duo, Phaser and Blastmaster of the Astro Squad. And there's the first problem right there. Just the two, is it? Didn't there used to be 6? This is barrage and heave erasure, and I ain't standing for it. So immediately we're on the back foot with this lingering sense of incompleteness, but more pressingly, they ain't even good. I mean, look at these scratty little mingers, both horrifically untidy and uncomfortable in individually awful ways. Like, I do kinda love Fuzer's skinny, tapered shape, or shapered tape, that intricately sculpted tum in Star Saber-esque colors, and the bewildering built-in handguns. I mean, he is based on a guy called Phaser, so of course his hands are laser guns. But it feels rough, man. Check out that horribly slanty, overpacked rucksack, and like, the hips don't even work. Meanwhile, Blastmaster, title on my TikTok drummer page, is just a pure shit show. Again, there is the core of a cute character in here. I dig his deep blue tum and silly red helmet, but everything's a mess. Legs are weak and undisciplined, backpack's unwieldy and enormous, arms are too low and too stiff, neck won't click in, it's a state. He won't even stay standing unless you bend his knees and balance him on his wing stalks, like he's taking a permanent dump. Blastmaster, more like ass blaster. To its credit, the shuttle mode works a treat. Look how cute that is. All streamlined and rounded and resplendent in this lively monochrome. And the combined weapon mode, in fairness, is one of the more successful ones. Even if it is nakedly just a shuttle with a handle under its chin, it at least feels intended and not just two muscle cars making out. But it's bizarre to me that they can't do the universal swap and switch thing. Like, it's not even close. It's not even a nearly. They're just hardline incompatible. Because like with the old school Micromaster combiners, wasn't that half the fun of it? Oh, it's a truck that is half of a shuttle. Because connectables were a thing and we have to stay relevant in the marketplace. And it just ain't quite there. Believe me, I'd forgive it all if I could shake how rattly and ramshackle it feels. Empty and emaciated, like the discarded wrapper of its own potential. It's just a shame, man, because the idea of updated Micromasters sounds like something I should have been into. Especially Phaser and Blastmaster. These were very dear to baby Thew. But I don't think what I wanted was a new version. I think I just wanted a new one of this exact toy, but without the yellowing and with all its arms still on. Because the Earthrise reprise just doesn't have the same soul. They look nominally the same and fulfill the same role, but nobody's own, baby. I think what it is what I like about Micromasters wasn't the characters they were. It wasn't the vibe, for friggin' once. It was the objects, the actual toys. The simple joy of a pocket-sized fidget toy cast in deliciously smooth, thick plastic with chunky limbs and just enough detail to spark the imagination. And it turns out that just doesn't translate into a modern-day mainline toy for an older audience. I mean, what's the use of upgraded articulation if they can't stand up on their own? Or if the legs just ping off? I appreciate the attempt, but the point has been firmly missed. They kept the size, but missed the prize. They shot for the moon and exploded on ignition. Anyway, our next stop takes us about as far away from these ropey-ass baby bozos as it's possible to get, as we drop in on an enormous, prestigious, and intimidatingly expensive unofficial figure of some unrelated, non-specific space engine robo who's definitely not Astrotrain, or as the French say, nay, Astrotrain. Bask, if you will, in the upscale collector-grade glory of FansToys FT44, Thomas. Yes, indeed. Make way for this monolithic misery machine. So this is one of those high-end dodeca mega figures for big boy pants collectors for whom masterpieces don't quite scratch the itch anymore. And my god, Thomas goes hard. He goes as hard can go. You can pick it up and feel the investment. There's weight here. There is quality. And there is debt. But let's talk aesthetics, because Big Thomas Trotrain here really amplifies the evil robot from space angle. It's serious, and it's scary. This is a different breed of Decepticon. A slow and unstoppable sentinel. A roiling mass of naked, indifferent metal, fueled by rage and built for cold-hearted thuggery. There's a violence to it, you know? This is the only time I've thought Astrotrain might kill me. And I've read All Hail Megatron. Because this robot mode is just monumental. Constructed cold from the nastiest wedges of plate armor as thick as continental crust. Pretty rare for a toy to feel like it has stories. Check out the tremendous titty plates, standing brutish and bulletproof, and that shiny tongue burning with the ferocity of a nuclear fire. Arms are just mercilessly meaty, projecting pure industrial strength with forearms as impenetrable as tungsten paneling. Not sure if a bruiser like this really needs 5 full-featured, individually articulated fingers, but of course he's got them. They're such a hallmark of the high-grade 3P TFC, and this is about as high-grade as it gets, so of course he's got them. Be weird if he didn't. And obviously the legs are unconscionably enormous, just absolute doorstops of deep-hewn dominance. Gotta say the knee joints are in a fun place, optimized for impact and articulation, safely secreted behind these massive cricket shin guards. I guess the feet feel a little bit silly and underserved in the context of this colossus. But that is what Astrotrain's feet look like, right? All they gotta do is get stood on. Anyway, the head's gorgeously shiny and smooth, with that bright white face beaming like a beacon of disapproval. And this may be a weird thing to enjoy, but I appreciate how much space the head has on there. Like, it sits with unusual clarity upon its plinth of pain, amidst acres of space on these shoulders, which also comfortably accommodate the bonus faux train pinwheel nubbins there. And I think that's mostly what I appreciate about this robot, is its cleanliness. Like, there's no real kibble to speak of. There are odd hints, like the flaps glued to the shins, but it's all pretty low-key. It's even nice and tidy around the back. It does feel a bit wrong without the classic triple booster backpack, but this is a slick storage solution to match the animation model, and I don't think I've ever seen that done successfully. Meanwhile, the front's giving nothing away. There's like no extraneous detail. It doesn't need that. It seems to understand the power it exudes through its sparse, empty surfaces. It's moody as hell, and it's a mood. Are we still saying that? It's a mood? I don't know. Bit of bonus accessory action on the go. Big Thomas tank here comes thoughtfully packaged with a spare face, showcasing Astrotrain's broad emotional repertoire of quietly seething and loudly seething. Not sure what that achieves. Along with this gruesome grey death rifle, which looks all wrong to me in not purple, but still kicks ass. Along with the day's only bow tie. Hallelujah! It's a clip-on, but it still counts. God, I miss when Astrotrain just looked like that. Look at this, so much better. Bring back the bow tie. Hashtag bring back the bow tie. So, goddamn, the experience of FansToys Thomas is one of pure unchecked luxury. It really has more of a vibe of industrial grade equipment, like you're hanging out at home with your CNC fixed head lathe collection. It's like peak performance plastic with deep deposits of complementary metal, and it's probably as heavy as the rest of the toys in this video piled up, including all of these. And the Unicron. The joints are wonderfully strong and clicky and secure. Whatever he's doing, he's never not stealing the show. Bro just commands the collection, and I have no choice but to stand. 'Cause I'm afraid. Now that is a transformation to sit and savor. It's the type you've got to give a little bit of room in your day, because there's plenty going on and some really unusual touches. Like, I appreciate how some of the boosters are inside the arms, and I was not prepared for the hip joint release button. It really flexes its lack of constraints, because they clearly weren't working to a budget here or a price point. They just went as ham as they wanted and figured out the numbers afterwards. And it shows. Complimentary. I mean, it's not perfect. There's always a little bit that doesn't quite clip in right, but it's definitely one of the best unofficial sequences I've come across. It doesn't feel like it's trying to show off or outsmart you. It's impressive, it's logical, and I trust it. And that's the difference. Toy world. And this shuttle is an absolute showstopper. It's huge and heavy and honestly quite a thing to behold. In this borderline seamless finish, with the panels that tessellate so cleanly, it almost looks like all this is just a single surface with a texture applied. I think what makes this pop is that it doesn't look like something from a cartoon. Well, I know it is, obviously it is, but it's barely stylized at all. It hits an interesting balance of vague realism with a subtle sprinkling of blatant comic book shit. Like these chromy boosters blasting out the back like quintuple coned mirror shine breathtakers. Yeah, that's practical. Decepticon badges there, those are owner applied. And I mean, the purple ain't real world, but it doesn't feel that outlandish. Maybe it's a tactical night strike stealth space shuttle, you don't know. Maybe that's what NASA are really doing with all that flat earth money. Anyway, I'm in actual romantic love with the front end. With these separately highlighted lush shiny windows, that nose cone is gnarly. It strikes the perfect balance between pointy and roundy, but I don't know if I love the edging. First time I've said that. Like, this little coving frame around it is a common thing among Astrotrains, but it looks double daft here. Like it's gingerly poking its snout out of a kennel. But that's literally the only blip, because the lines are otherwise so clean and consistent. Wings are pure Skylynxian magnificence. The wheels are even relatively well hidden. It really gives you the business. Plus it looks fab on this flight stand made of a length of railway track. What a rare sentence. A second shorter, but just as joyously indulgent transformation, we arrive at the truly titanic train mode. This is such a serious item, man. Just the entirety of Big Tom Hardy's considerable mass lined up into a solid bar of raw material, like pure Decepticon ore. You could definitely bludgeon us with it, and I doubt it'd notice. So the front end's a bit of a false start, with the shallow sculpting and faint features giving it a sort of dreamy, unreal haze. Like, that is one pathetically plain pilot, and the boilerplate barely seems to register, but we make up for it. We're talking a lot of plastic real estate here, with the sort of arched prism shape going very easy on the eye and facilitating a wealth of detail, simply strewn with rivets and pipes. We got the lamp and the funnel and the whistle bringing a heartening sense of attempted reality to it. Check out the Go Faster side plates like angular elephant ears. And the wheels are like actual wheels and that? Like, imagine having actual non-fake out wheels and a drive rod that's not even pretend or anything. It's maybe not the best feature, but it's real and it's here and it works. Kind of. Colours are perhaps a touch one note, mind. Like, there's the odd touch of grey here and there, but it's almost all purple, washed out in a single amethysty tone. But is that not exactly what you want? I love how the cabin's capped with this convex, almost flat cap-esque roof, along with cheeky Lucasade windows and five shiny chrome boosters. That's two more than normal. Bit of mild wing chunk up the back there with a sort of outlier extra wheel. But I mean, it's integrated well enough, and it fits on the length of track that it comes with, so it works on its own terms, so piss off. Throw in some bonus underside rifle storage, and I'm honestly floored. This is some impressive shit, man. It almost defies belief. There's a kind of unspoken understanding with a lot of toys that they're as good as they can be up to a point, and you fill in the gaps with your imagination, right? That's part of why they're so involving. Like with the G1 toy, we know the wheels are just drawn on. We know none of it's real. But what if it was? That's the extra step you take in your brain. What if it was better? That's the mantra, and it's part of the fun. Thomas takes that step for you. This is the toy that you decided this toy was in your impressionable child brain. It's proportionally physically grown up with you. This is wish fulfillment on an obscene scale. This is excess untethered. This is contra compromise. It feels positively filthy, and I am a pig in its muck. Honestly, I don't often get much of a kick out of the upper echelon multiple £100 unlicensed items, precisely because they're so complex and they demand so much of my time, and they're typically so high on their own farts. But this is melting me, man. The reasons I was initially suspicious of it have turned out to be the reasons I like it. Maybe it's me that's changed, but I don't think so. I think what it is FansToys Thomas really is just that f***ing good. And finally tonight, let's pop a cherry on this bitch with a cheeky bonus blast of Transformers Legacy Galaxy Shuttle. Yes, mate, this unlikely interloper popped out of absolute nowhere last year for an unexpected Transformers victory lap in the Redeco-dominated Velocitron Speedier 500 collection, and my god does he bring the old Siege sad sack to life. Now, I'm not going to claim to know much about Galaxy Shuttle as a guy. I don't know who he is, I don't know the first thing about him, but I've always had a bit of a fascination with the original Galaxy Shuttle toy from 1990's Transformers Victory. You may have heard of it. I mean, look at this thing. The colours, the height, the kinesis of it, the cool body type with the downward-facing dog pit like Starscream or Spacey. Not to mention the absolute grailathon of collector prestige that all of Victory represents. Victory Galaxy Shuttle is an impossibly scarce toy. I'm never gonna get one, so this'll do, because it just feels so clean, man. So bright and brash, absolutely popping in this max contrast two-tone fit, with that fresh-faced fresh face oozing self-assured sass and some of the partiest box art I've ever seen. The energy here is electric, sizzling with unhinged exuberance and landing somewhere between Astrotrain and Jazz. I mean, it does retain all of Siege Astrotrain's problems, but it just wears them so much better. Like, the Shuttle's looking tons tastier in its knockoff NASA livery, with a mildly misaligned auto badge there and a bonus Victory logo on its haunch. Love that. And the tender base launchpad dealie just comes to life here, revealing bright red laser guns, reveling in its toyness and wearing these audacious colours like it's still the 80s. And check it out, you can cobble together a perfect Earthrise triple orbital launch pad sits with Skylynx and Astrotrain, and I've never been happier. And the train somehow looks more alive in straight black, without that dingy Decepticon deco draining out the razzle-dazzle. I mean, it still looks physically silly with the mismatched face and massive remainder, but it seems more authentically steam engine, like a straight-up leader-class GoBot loco, with the inlaid wheels all skinny and round and spinning like tiddlywinks there. Do tiddlywinks spin? I don't know. If they did, they would spin like that. I'm so much more engaged with this version. I'm noticing sculpting I hadn't clocked before. I am unambiguously enthralled. So yes, enormous affection for Astrotrain Activewear Edition here. Simply a redeco done right. And I think that about wraps up our contemporary Astrotrain activities. So what, if anything, have we learned? Has there been progress since 2017? Does there need to have been? I think what we've seen is that what Astrotrain does best is maintain. Because sure, he's not exactly A-list essential character material, but wouldn't it feel so much emptier without him? He stands as unshakable as ever as a strong Decepticon staple, fleshing out the ranks in inimitable style with his curvaceous signature wingspan and moody purple bulk. We're immeasurably better off for his presence in the shows, on the shelves, and in my heart. Oh. So enormous thanks to the ever wonderful Ed Peary for letting me borrow Thomas for a year. Sorry. Massive thanks to your bad self for watching and supporting the show. My name's Thew, and I remain, as ever, a useful little engine. Okay, Christmas finally came in February. Don't let me do any more big bids for a while. It is killing me. Bully me till I stop. We're doing one bot at a time for the foreseeable, okay? But thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. Extra special thanks to all the patrons out there supporting me through thickest and thinnest, especially a certain Connor McClure. Thank you so much, buddy. Thew appreciates your support, and Thew is me, and that means that I love you. Right, I'm gonna go and crash on my bed for a week. See you later.
Be sure to subscribe for more Thew's awesome Transformers reviews. Limited appeal, keeping it real.